thing. When you come from a point of view of connection rather than selling, it becomes so much more enjoyable then. Well, hello there, and you are very welcome to today's live show. I'm Lisa Fox, and today I want to talk about the confidence to sell. And this is something that I don't think I ever imagined myself in all of my years talking about. Because even though I've been in business for, God, 16, 17 years. Up until recently, my business was not online. My business was in-person performance arts school for children. And I thought that I did sales, but I actually didn't do sales in that business. I actually my classes sold themselves. It was word of mouth. I never actually had to sell a day in my life. I never really marketed. I would put I started off by sending my leaflets. Hi guys. Started off by sending my leaflets out to schools, and a handful of schools, a handful of leaflets. And then after a couple of years, I was like, I didn't do that. I just put up a Facebook post every now and again, and only when I had classes starting. The next, like a couple of weeks later, maybe once or twice a year, I would put up a Facebook post to say, my classes are starting back. And that, I thought I was selling, but I wasn't selling. People would just contact me and say, I've heard from such a person, you're great at what you do, and I want to book my child in. No problem. It was easy peasy. And then I started my online business, and I realized, it's actually not the same thing at all. And actually, there's a lot of marketing to do, and there's a lot of selling. And for a long time, it was very attractive to me to do sort of passive marketing and passive sales. So, I really concentrated on putting out really great social media. Now, it did take me a while to get into the habit of actually putting out my social media and doing it consistently. I'm still not great at doing it consistently, but I'm doing it way more consistently than I used to. But for a long time, I kind of thought that was enough. And I was like, it's interesting that I'm doing all this social media posting and people still are not reaching out to me to work with me. And not that they didn't at all, but just not that many, not enough to make the kind of impact that I wanted to make and the kind of money that I wanted to make. And all that time, I had this idea in my head that I cannot do sales. I'm not good at it, right? That's the thought that was in my head. That's what I was telling myself. That's what I believed. I'm not good at sales. I can't do it. I can't figure it out. It's too complicated. It's too hard. I don't want to come across like I'm being pushy. I don't want to seem like I'm spamming people. I don't want people to dislike me in any way. I don't want to annoy people, right? With marketing and sales. So it's no wonder that I was, just putting up the odd social media post and, making that perfect, putting all the effort into making the content that I was putting out really perfect and hoping that that would do the job for me of marketing and sales. But it didn't. And it was as much to do with those beliefs that I had about, about just, I can't do this. I'm not able for it. So I had to change my beliefs around it, and I had to change the way I was approaching it, and I had to change my thoughts about it. And so what I started to realize and started to live by and started to do and started to come from a place of when I was doing my marketing and sales was connection, right? Because even though I can't, like sales, the word sales feels icky to me, connection doesn't. Even if I feel like I can't do sales, I know I can connect with people. I know that connecting with people is actually a superpower of mine. I can connect with the wall. Like that's not an issue for me. And somebody must have said it. I can't remember who. Some book that I read or podcast that I listened to. I cannot remember, but I hooked into it when somebody said, sales is just about connection. Sales is connection. And it was like one of those moments where I was like, that's a ship that I can get on board. I can go with that idea. Sales is actually just connection, because connection I can do. Connection I'm really good at. Okay. So just that was that first thing that really allowed me to kind of have a lot more confidence around the whole sales thing. I was like, I'm good at this. I actually know already that I'm good at this. And I know that if I can figure out how to sell through connection, that I can figure out sales. That's no problem to me. So that's what I started doing when I was writing my posts. I just thought it's just about connection. But I also understood that, part of connection, the first part of connection and the first part of sales equally is reaching out and bringing people into your world. Because if you're the person who has something to sell, it's like you're the host of the party. You have to invite people to your party if you want to have a party. You can't just say, I've got a party, and just sit in your house with the whole party ready to go, but not actually reach out and say, do you want to come? You want to come to my party? So I was like, okay, so that's the first bit. It's reaching out and connecting with them in that way, where you go, hi, this is who I am. This is what I do. And being really clear about that. So it's like kind of when you reach out to somebody to invite them to your party, you're going to say, hey, I've got a party. And it's a Halloween party. And you got to wear a fancy dress. And my address is here. And this is where the party's at. And here's some directions, right? That's the reaching out part. And that's the part where you're saying what's on. That's the banner over the shop window, right? That's the part where you're going, here's who I am and here's what I do. Right? You want to come to my party? You want to come to my party? And that part of it takes a little bit of confidence, for sure. But for me, it changed when I said it's about connecting with people. It's about actually welcoming them into my world. It's not about actually sales, because it's not that I'm just trying to sell what I do to everyone. It's that I'm trying to find the people who need what it is that I sell and invite them into my world, right? And that I can do. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that next part of it is that communication. And again, there is a certain amount of confidence that you need in order to communicate, right? And in order to actually know who you are and know what your party's about. Again, it's like you saying, I've got a party on and it's just a free-for-all and anybody can come. That's not really, you're not really going to be able to communicate that efficiently and effectively enough to actually convince people to come to your party. But if you say, it's a Halloween party and it's at this address and this is what you'll get out of it, and there'll be free drinks and there'll be, party bags or whatever, people know what's actually there. So even if you don't feel totally 100% confident about what's available, what it is you're about, what it is that you have for sale, what I suggest to you is, number one, that's kind of normal, right? The first time you do it, it's kind of normal. The first maybe couple of years, it's kind of normal to feel a little bit like, oh, but the key to actually getting confident about that is being clear about it with yourself. So sit down and say, okay, what is it? Who am I? When I reach out to somebody, what's my intention? what am I telling them is available for them at my house, at my party? What's available for them? What's in it for them? And then they can self-select, right? After you reach out, they can go, yeah, I'd love to do that. Or actually, that's not for me. And that's totally fine. And the more you do it and the more you get used to that reaching out and communicating your message, the easier it is to do and the easier it is to accept that actually it's okay if not everybody wants to come to my party. Actually, I couldn't, even if everybody did want to come to my party, I wouldn't have space for them, right? If everybody did want to buy from me, I probably wouldn't be able, I don't have the merch, I don't have the resources to actually sell to everybody who comes to my shop. And that's okay. Right. So it's really part of the process. This, like, being rejected is actually your friend, right? But don't let it stop you from actually putting out your wares and actually knowing what your wares are and actually knowing, like, this is what I have to offer. Are you interested? Would you like to come and see? And again, it's not about feeling confident immediately when you start doing that. It's about knowing that you will start to feel confident once you've done it a bunch of times. And that's okay if you're feeling a bit like about it. That's fine. And I think that's a big thing that we all think when we watch these, like, gurus and these people with their $1 million businesses already. Of course they're confident. Of course, they've been doing it for a long time, or they've mastered it already. But there's a lot of people having a lot of success who are getting used to their message, who are getting used to mastering these sales, who are getting used to communicating their message. And you can still make sales in the meantime, even from a place of not fully confident, right? So don't allow not feeling fully confident to stop you. Remember that when you do anything new or fresh or like that you're not used to, there's a certain amount of stretch involved. And in that stretch, there's a little bit of discomfort. But once you've been stretched, you grow into a comfort level within that stretch. Right? And guess what? Us entrepreneurs, us people who are ambitious, we kind of like the stretch, even if we're not really fully sure, even if we're kind of go, oh God, it's uncomfortable. We still kind of, when we actually get to that point when we've reached the stretch, when we've reached the comfort in that stretch, we go, oh, I want to do it again. Oh, I want to grow a bit more. And that's what it's all about. So don't worry if you don't feel fully confident at any stage of the process. Just get clear about what it is that you have to offer and start practicing communicating that. Start practicing reaching out to people and say, hey, here's what I have. I'm a bit shy about inviting you to my party, but that's okay. My party's going to be great anyway, and I think you're really going to enjoy it, right? So then the next bit is really about being a good host, right? And what does a good host do? It's like an adventure. Exactly, Natalia. It's like an adventure. So what does a good host do? If you think of, you're marketing yourselves as this party and you're the host of the party. It's all about making sure people have what they need. So like I said, making sure they have the information that they need, like making sure that everything is available to them. It's all about making sure that you go over and chat to them. Now, I don't mean that. You see, when I had it in my head that sales was this pushy, icky, spammy, like aggressive thing, I was like, I hate when I go into a shop and the salesperson comes over and is like, hi, can I help you with anything? I'm like, no, I just want to be left alone. I just want, I saw from the shop window what was in here. That's what made me come inside. Now I want to have a little look around. But it never bothers me if the salesperson is just there and available to me, right? Or comes over and just says, hi, oh, I really like those shoes as well. What size are you? Do you want me to do? If you need anything, let me know. I can get your size for you in those or whatever else you want. But it's all about that sort of the difference between a salesperson who I'm okay with and a salesperson who I'm not okay with is that they're kind of relaxed, as the host of the party, that they're having a good time. They're kind of, they're interested in me, but they're not like putting pressure on me in any way or on my back all the time, right? So it's like, it's the difference between coming over and say, hey, yeah, I'm here. I'm just over there. If you need anything, I've got your back. And somebody coming over and like giving you information overload. Do you know what I mean? So for me, when it comes to that element of selling in my online business, it's actually just, and it's another part of connection, which is just listening. Just listening. Like I might ask a couple of questions, and that's kind of going, I'm over there if you need me, right? But then it's about like, just actually listening to everything that they have to say. And why am I listening? It's so that I can figure out if I can actually help them. Right. And that's it. And that's the connection. It's like, okay, this person has told me that, me as a confidence coach, is this person is talking and telling me that they know everything they need to know about business. They have the strategy, they have the formula, they have the way they're going to do it, but they cannot get themselves past a certain point because they keep running up against themselves. Then I know that that's a confidence issue. Or if they start talking about imposter syndrome, or if they start talking about fear of judgment, or if they start talking about procrastinating or perfectionism, I'm like, yes, those are confidence issues. I can help with those. And so I'm listening out for those things. But if I don't hear those things, I'm not going to go, yeah, so you should work with me for sure because I can help you. No, it's like if what you're talking about is actually something that I can help you with, then I'll say, yeah, well, I've got this, and this that can help with that. If you're interested, if not, no problem. It's no problem, but it's just about listening and actually finding out if they're a good fit, right? And it does take confidence to just listen, right? It does take confidence to be totally okay whether or not they're a good fit, and kind of not judging yourself for actually, taking that time with them to figure out whether they were a good fit or not. Recently, I had a sales call with somebody who wasn't a good fit at all for what I was doing. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I can help you with that. But like, let's talk about it a little bit about the help that you do need. And I might be able to suggest something to you or somebody else's program or whatever. And we had a great chat about that. And it was lovely. And I got a lot from the conversation. I enjoyed it. It's a party. This is the thing. When you come from a point of view of connection rather than selling, it becomes so much more enjoyable then. And then of course, if it is a fit, if they're singing your song, if they're saying, I need shoes that are a size 4 in red, and you're sitting there with a pair of shoes that are size 4 in red, it would be a bit of a crime not to tell them about that, wouldn't it? I mean, it doesn't mean that they have to buy it from you. It doesn't mean that you're pushing them in any way into buying it from you. It's just letting them know that that's something that you have in stock, right? And that to me again was like, I don't know why. Why do we feel like it's being pushy just to tell people that we have what they're looking for? And I think it's a little bit about like the fact that we're actually putting pressure on ourselves to have to sell to them. We don't have to sell. We can enjoy the connection. We can enjoy the conversation without actually selling, but with the intention of selling if it's a good fit, right? So let's just say you do have the pair of shoes, right? And they're in red and they're in that person's size. And you kind of get this little tingle of, ooh, and it's sort of nerves because straight away you're thinking, are they going to buy it? And it's sort of excitement because you're like, oh my God, I have exactly the thing that they need. But it's also that fear that they're going to reject your offer, right? So it takes confidence to make an offer that somebody very well might reject. But if you really tune into the connection of that and why you're doing what you're doing, then you take the pressure off the other person and off yourself for it to actually have to go perfectly or for them to have to buy from you. This person, and I go into every single sales conversation with the mantra, this person owes me nothing. They owe me nothing. I'm coming on this call to actually have a conversation with them and see if I can help them out. They owe me nothing and I owe them nothing. Okay. And and that works. That really makes me feel more comfortable. It really makes me feel more relaxed. And I think it also makes the other person feel more relaxed. Okay. So you've brought out your pair of red shoes in the size that the person wants them in. And you're opening your box and going, here it is. Here's the shoes that I was talking about. What do you think? And they're like, oh, actually, they're really nice. I like them. They look like, oh, I fit them on. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like them. I'm interested. How much are they? How much are they? And this is the bit where we trip ourselves up so much. And what I want to say to you is, of course, because this is often the big thing that's going to make or break the deal, right? Whether if the price is right, but the price is the price, right? And if you've decided what your price is, it's based on the value that you think there is, the belief that you have that the product that you're selling will do the job that they wanted to do. So in other words, the result that they want. And you don't know how much money they have and how much money they don't have, or whether or not they'll see the value, or whether or not they want to shop around for that. And that brings up so much for us, again, because we take it so personally. If they say no, we tell ourselves a bunch of shit about ourselves that is irrelevant and doesn't actually mean anything. It probably isn't even true, right? So I want you to try, when you're saying your price, just to go, again, this person doesn't owe me anything. This person may or may not have this money, but I know that the value of what I'm selling is there. I know that these shoes are going to do a great job. I know that they're going to keep their feet warm and dry and comfortable. I know that their feet are going to look really pretty in them. And, the price that I've put on them is well worth that. Your job is to communicate that value. You can say, yeah, so the price is this, and the results that you can expect are this, and then they are allowed to make up their mind about whether or not it's worth it to them or whether they even have that much money. So your only job is to communicate the value and make sure that they can see the value and then let go of it. And then, and then again, I always say, say the price, communicate the product, the value, say the price, and then shut your mouth and listen to what they have to say. And sometimes it's just a little freak out of oh God, sometimes it's that they thought they were going to be cheaper. Sometimes they think it's going to be more expensive. My husband bought me a necklace for after I had our second baby, because he hadn't bought me a push present on the first. That was fine, but I was like, I really want something to commemorate. This is our family. This was our last child, our second child, and our last child. And I was like, I really would like something to signify that. And there was a necklace in a local jewelry shop that I had my eye on, and it was 4 stars, right? And there was one big star, then there was a smaller star, it was gold, and the big star was like a kind of the outside of a star. The smaller star was filled in, if you like. It was fully gold. And then the 2 smaller stars than that, which would represent the kids, were also like the rim of the star, if you like. And I was just like, oh my God, that's just so perfect. That's exactly our family, and the star that's filled in represents me, being my full self within the family. And when we went into the shop to buy it, we didn't know what price it was. And when the shop assistant told us how much it was a lot cheaper than we both thought it would be. And I was prepared to spend, or my husband was prepared to spend a lot more money. I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't more expensive. Go figure. Anyway, but sometimes when something is cheaper than what we thought it was going to be, we can kind of go, oh, is it that good if it's that cheap, or whatever? We might have a whole different array of things. And I know I have first-hand experience of this at the moment because my own program is half the price right now that it will be in a few months' time. And the reason for that is because my program is brand new and I want to get the right people into it and get amazing testimonials and get brilliant results for the people who are in it, and then jack it up to the real price, the real value of what it is. And that's okay. And I make sure that when I'm telling the price of my program, that I make that explicitly clear so they know that it's nothing to do with the price of the program. The real price of the program is this. You're getting at this price because of this, but for no other reason. I know that I can get you results, So it's communicating that, and being confident in communicating that is just about owning what you know, even if it might be a little bit uncomfortable to say it. If you know it in advance of the call, you can say it. And if you feel nervous while you're saying it, you don't have to tell yourself a story that you feel nervous about it because it's shit, actually. No, it's just normal to feel nervous in these sorts of conversations, and that's okay, especially when you're at the earlier stages, or especially if it's a new offer, or especially if it's a higher price point than what you're used to selling it. And that's the thing, like there's lots of sales gurus who will tell you, you have to be really confident when you're saying your price, and you have to, like when you say your price to somebody, like practice it beforehand and practice it with somebody else, and like say it until it feels really normal and natural to say it. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with doing that and getting yourself accustomed to actually saying the words and the numbers. There's nothing wrong with like practicing saying it in front of the mirror. There's all great techniques to actually help you when it comes to the sales conversation. However, don't be surprised when you're in the actual real conversation that you stutter over your price. I have stuttered over my price many times. I felt that nervous flutter. I still feel it. But I know that it's okay to feel that way. And I have a really high conversion rate. I'm a really good salesperson now that I've made it all about connection, and now that I've made it, all about my own natural abilities and really connecting with people and enjoying that process. Now I'm really good at it. Like I've got a 70 to 75% conversion rate, which is amazing. Ask anyone. But the thing is, I don't need to pretend anything in order to have that conversion rate. I don't need to be really smooth and slick to have that conversion rate. People actually don't mind the human side, but people don't mind seeing the little nerves that you might feel when you're saying your price. People don't mind if you have a little stutter or a stammer as you're like getting it out of your system, especially in the beginning. I don't think that that's going to make somebody not buy from you if you've been operating from a place of connection. And the other thing is, it's also that self-trust that as you go on and as you do this more and more and more, you'll get better at it and you'll get more comfortable with it. And you won't feel as nervous and you won't feel as uncomfortable, or like you're going to swallow your own tongue when you're going to say it. All of that will start to feel more comfortable. And then guess what? You're going to stretch yourself again. You're going to do something else that makes you uncomfortable, because that's just the way we are, right? We're always trying to get better. We're always trying to progress. We're always trying to make more money. We're always trying to make more of an impact. And people need us to show up and connect with them. People need us. People want to go to our party, right? People want to feel comfortable at our party. So they need us to actually just show up. And, you don't have to be the perfect host. You just have to be as good a host as you can be right now. And that's good enough. Okay, so sell your wares, my dears. Have faith in yourself. Even if you're not fully confident yet, don't worry about it. Focus on the connection. Focus on the value that you're there to give to the world, and let that be your anchor more than anything else. I hope you found this useful. Remember, confidence plus faith equals success. I love you all, and I will see you soon again. Bye-bye.